Never give up because great things take time. How about that? Alrighty, let's get straight into this episode. Welcome to the Luke Mind Power Show. This is episode number 115. Damn, it's the 1st of November. It's the 1/11/2021. It's a blessing to be alive. And this is why you should never give up. And you know what? This is going to be about how not to give up, right? At any given moment in our lives, our mind can be our own worst enemy. And a lot of our success and motivation, inspiration, life, living our best life definitely comes from our mind. And if we don't take control of our mind will control us. So, this is the challenge that we have every single freaking day is to not give up. I looked at the date, I looked at the time, and I was like, wow, when did I do my last podcast episode? And I was like, okay, I looked at my calendar, 25th of October, and I was like, freaking hell, it's Monday already again. And I'm like, oh, well, you got to do another podcast episode. You've been doing them every Monday, so get to it. So here I am doing another podcast episode. I hope that you enjoy this episode. And I hope you get a lot of value out of it, because we can be our own worst, critic. We can be very judgmental. We can be holding ourselves back a lot of the time. And most of the time, why we don't step into fear or move past that doubt is because we don't believe in ourselves. And so not being able to have that strong belief system and that trust within ourselves definitely has a detrimental effect on our success and happiness and peace and moving forward past that that thing that we're afraid of. And so we give up, we give in, we don't allow ourselves to move past that fear. And I know this because for many years I always had a story. And the truth is, that next level of life that you're trying to aspire to achieve is on the other side of that bullshit story that you keep telling yourself as to why you can't have it. And it's a story. Literally, it is a story. And I have a couple of stories that I used to say in my head all the time as to why I couldn't be someone greater than just a driving examiner, government employee. I had many people come up to me and say, Luke, you'd be such a great manager. You'd be such a great supervisor. And I would always discount that and say, nah. And the one of the reasons why is because I didn't have the confidence. I didn't feel like I had the confidence. And I also didn't like confrontational situations. And many times when I was working in that government job, I used to see supervisors and managers having to deal with aggressive or people who were upset. And I was like, oh, shit, I can't handle that. I don't like confrontational situations. And so I would basically reject that. And I wouldn't believe that I could actually do that. So then there was the other story that I had, which was that I could never run my own business. And I grew up working with my brother-in-law, and he, from a very young age, was traveling to China, importing goods and running businesses. So I looked up to him and I worked with him for many years. And so because I saw his expertise and his own success, I truly believed in my mind that if I was ever going to do business, then I would give him the business or the role of being in charge, and he can run the business for me because I don't know how to do that. So that was another story that I had in my head of that I'm not good enough, that I can't do it, right? So look what I'm doing now. I'm running my own business. I'm coaching people. How am I doing this shit? I'm taking action. I'm failing forward. I'm making mistakes. I'm learning. I'm learning from my mistakes. And I never believed that I could do this because I continuously believed the fucking story that I kept telling myself, that I'm not good enough, that I can't learn, that I can't build confidence, that I can't be better. And this is the one thing that we have. We have doubt, we have fear, we have insecurities, and so we just give up. And so we settle. We make a settlement for mediocre. We make a settlement for what we think we are. But I'm here to tell you that you are more powerful than you can imagine. And if you continue to allow that story in your head to permeate your existence, then you will continue to settle for shit that is not really your fullest potential. And so we give up. It's so easy to give up. Now, one of the amazing experiences now, when I look back, I'm like, okay, wow, I overcame that conversation. I thought that I wasn't good enough. I thought I couldn't run my own business or company. I didn't believe that I could live my dreams or find my passion. I was always searching for something greater, but I couldn't understand what it was. And just touching on purpose, how do you, I know that I've done an episode on this before, but I was thinking about this last night. It's like, how do you find your purpose? And the answer to that is your purpose is your pain. Your purpose is your adversity, right? And that's why I say, when you start to love yourself and you start to build that relationship with yourself and you start to really connect with your truth, that's how you get into alignment, into the right direction of your life. And you start to flow. You start to move in the right direction. You start to honor your truth. You start to respect your intuition. And then you start going in the right direction in your life. And a lot of us are not doing that. We're not in alignment because we care so much about what people think of us. And we've got a lot of shame towards our past and trauma and wounds that we haven't addressed yet. Okay. So if you are searching for your purpose, that's one way to actually discover and step into, because you are purpose, you are existence, but you've got to do the work. And the treasure you seek is in the work you're avoiding. Everything that you want in your life is on the other side of action. And the hardest thing sometimes is just to take that action. Okay. But it's to become aware of the story and the conversation that you're having in your mind that most of the time isn't actually you. That conversation is not you. It's your parents, it's your sisters, it's your brothers, it's your friends, it's what the school kids told you when you were in year 3 or year 6. It's not your conversations. Okay, you just taken on a lot of information through television, through the radio, through movies that you've watched, and there's a lot of content in your subconscious mind that isn't truly who you are. And the more that you become aware of that stupid conversation that isn't you, the more you're going to be able to get out of that funk so that you can actually be more conscious, more intentional, and overcome your adversity. And when you do that, that's where you're going to step into more power, more truth, more purpose, living your dreams, because you're no longer going to be a victim of your past. You're no longer going to be defined by what you went through. And that pain will turn into your power, and then you will turn into living in purpose. And that's the power of your journey, right? It's like, do I continue to allow myself to be a victim of that shit, to let it weigh me down, to live in fear and doubt and insecurity? Because you didn't come here to do that shit. Like, for real, you didn't come here to live a shit life. You didn't come here to suffer. You know, I'm proud of myself that I was able to break out of that dysfunctional fucking mindset, dysfunctional reality. It's bullshit. You're not here for that. But how much are you willing to push? How much are you willing to fight? How much are you willing to go against the grain, to go against everything that you fucking know? How much are you willing to do that? To break out of this cyclical lifestyle, right? Because what you know is everything that you've experienced in the past. So in order for you to have a whole complete different life, you got to start changing the way that you live completely. And you got to repeat that. And you got to stay consistent with that shit all the time. Like if you think about the last 30 years of your life, I'm guessing that you're over 30 if you're listening. But if you think about the last 30 years, that is a lot of programming. That is a lot of conditioning. That is an abundance of information that is stored in your brain, in your mind, all these different experiences that you've been through. And you think that you can change in 6 months and all of a sudden you're just going to be this new version of yourself and life's going to be freaking perfect. No, never give up. Good things, great things take time. So you have a choice right now to say, well, you know what? I've been through a lot. I've got a lot of unhealthy thoughts. I've got a lot of toxic shit up here. And in order for you to reprogram your mind, in order for you to create new neural networks and neural pathways in your mind, you got to work on yourself. You got to change your environment. You got to change the people around you. You got to be more intentional with what you listen to, what you watch. Like you got to get relentless. You got to take action. You have got to love yourself enough to say no to others. You've got to get out of the darkness and get into the light. You got to protect your peace. There's a lot of different things, but your success is mostly because of your environment. Okay, so your environment will make you or break you. So if you don't have a positive, uplifting, encouraging environment, it's very likely that you will lose yourself and you'll be consumed by everything around you, and you won't be able to break out of the dysfunction that you're living in right now. So this is the challenge, because what you're trying to do here is you're trying to completely transform. You're trying to completely change. And if you don't have the right environment around you, then eventually you will lose yourself to those people, to the world, to the expectations of others, to the opinions of others, to everything around you. This is how challenging it is. And with the amount of information, with the amount of movies, with the amount of Netflix, with the amount of the internet, with the amount of people that you have in your life, this is how difficult it is. So I praise you. If you're listening to this podcast, I praise you for taking action, because this is a lot of the work that I've had to do over the last 3 years in order for me to have a positive mindset, in order for me to be very in tune with my energy, in order for me to understand why it's so important for me to say no to people, why it's so important for me to not respond to friends that message me, why it's important for me to really fucking protect myself. Because for me, I was a yes person to everyone all my life. And now I see, wow, if I really want to live my dreams, if I really want to be the best, greatest motivational speaker in the world, well, that's my dream. That's my vision. I can see it. I believe it. I'm going to achieve it. Why? Because I'm here to change the world. How do I do that? I have to protect my energy. How do I do that? I have to show up for me. How do I do that? I got to stay dedicated to what I believe in and what's true for me. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks. Doesn't matter what anyone says. Okay, people are going to judge you regardless. People are going to hate on you regardless. Are you going to give up? Are you going to stop? Are you going to slow down? Because others don't believe in your dream? Don't believe in what you want to achieve? It's not my job. My job is to focus on my truth. Okay? And the biggest and the hardest thing about when you're trying to transform and grow is that, you know, the truth is people can't fathom what you can. When you have a goal, when you have something that you can see that other people can't, even if you explain it to them, they don't get it. And this is why it's so important that if you have something greater and you're working towards a goal, you have to understand that people who aren't able to have that kind of mindset or belief, They won't support you, right? It's very hard to support someone when you don't believe in something that someone wants to achieve. That's the truth. It's hard for me to speak to people who don't have an abundance mindset, who don't have an optimistic mindset, right? There's the fear, there's the doubt, there's the insecurity of, fuck, how can you believe that? How can you think you're going to change the world? How can you think that you're going to be the best motivational speaker in the world? How can you think that you're going to have $1 million company so that you can help more people transform their lives, right? Don't be afraid of money. People say that money is the root of all evil. It's not about that. It's the more money I make, the more I can make an impact in the world, the more I can give people jobs, the more I can get people working in an environment that's actually living with purpose, making a difference in the world, making a difference more in people's lives because I have more resources to utilize and give and provide. It's not about me fucking buying Ferraris and fucking mansions and all this bullshit. As I make more money, I invest more money into my company so that I can hire more people, so that I can make more of an impact in the world. That's how this shit works. That's for me anyway. Right? It's not about sitting on your high horse and thinking, fuck, I'm the shit because I've got lots of money. Like, how do you want to leave this world? What do you want to be known for? What kind of a legacy do you want to leave? What do you want people to say about you when you're gone? That's how I live. Because I know that every single action that I take, every single word that I speak has an impact on someone's life. Every single thing that I do. So I live with that kind of mindset. I live with that kind of intention. Knowing that. Here lies a man that never fucking gave up on himself. Here lies a man that always spoke his truth. Here lies a man that believed in himself. And because he believed in himself, he allowed other people to believe in themselves. It gave permission to other people to go, fuck, I'm so inspired by Luke. You know, I had to watch his podcast. I had to listen to his podcast the other day, and it just opened my mind to, you know, yeah, fuck that shit. I'm here to live my dreams. I'm here to live a better life. I'm here to love me. I'm not here to be consumed by my doubts, by my insecurities, by all the bullies and people that put me down when I was at school. Because a lot of us are still living with that. If you got bullied, if you got shamed, right? If you got pushed around, if you've been in really unhealthy relationships where someone's always fucking told you that you're not good enough, you didn't come here to be consumed by that. You didn't come here to be victimized by that. And you can choose to allow that to continue to be your reality, or you can continue listening to my podcast so that you can wake the fuck up to your greatness. That's the truth. Because I've had to fight. I've had to push, right? Push past the opinions of others, family, friends. And I don't care anymore. I used to give a shit so much. I used to be really influenced by people. So I went in their direction, losing myself. And that's what happens. You lose yourself to what other people want of you, their expectations, their opinions, their lifestyles. And it's like, wait, man, you're not here to do that. You're here to step into your power, your greatness, your brilliance. So what is that for you? And this is how you don't give up by changing your environment, the people around you. You want to be in a place of positivity. You want to be in a place of encouragement. You want to be in a healthy, positive environment. It's one of the reasons why there's so many traumatized and hurt people out there, is because unfortunately there's a massive dysfunction, right? There's generational trauma from the past. If you look back at the wars, at poverty, oppression, if you look back, 50, 60, 70 years, what kind of lives were they living? There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of anger. There was a lot of poverty, right? And here we are, a lot of us still repeating the same fucking lifestyle as what people were living 70 years ago. And it's hurt people, and they will continue to hurt people. They'll continue to raise children in unhealthy mindsets, unhealthy environments. You'll continue to not have the time for your kids because you're having fucking 5 kids and you can't manage the household, right? And that's what we've been taught. Have children, have as many children as you can. I don't believe in that, right? Because it's the one thing that a child needs is fucking time, is love, is attention, is validation, is belief, is support, is encouragement. Bringing up your kid right. So you choose, break the fucking cycle or keep going in that direction. And you'll continue to raise people that are traumatized, that are hurt, that have fucking pieces missing. And then what do? You end up fucking attracting codependent relationships, abusive relationships, unhealthy relationships, because you need something, even if it's fucking unhealthy. You need something in your life to make you feel like you're good enough, because you don't have that confidence in yourself. You don't have that trust in yourself. You don't have that belief in yourself, which should have been instilled by your parents. But your parents were busy. They didn't have the time. They had to work to provide. They did their best. I ain't shaming my parents. I love my parents. They did the best they could. And you should love your parents too, even if they hurt you, because they were also doing their best given the resources they had, given the experiences they have, given the perception that they have, because of the experiences and the circumstances that they had when they were growing up. They were doing their best as well. But you got a choice now. How do I break the cycle? How do I change my life? How do I change the way I think? If I'm not getting the results right now in my life, if I'm not moving in the right direction, if I feel like something's missing, if I feel like there's something wrong, I'm not in a place of contentment and peace and happiness, then there's a bit of work for you to do. There's things that need to change for things to change. If nothing changes, nothing changes. This is the truth. My truth anyway. And you don't have to believe it. I'm just giving you a bit more awareness, because this is what this is all about. This is all about self-awareness. This is you tuning into your own thoughts, your own mind, your own lifestyle, and saying, what needs to change? What am I missing? What haven't I addressed? What am I fucking avoiding? What am I avoiding in my life? What's hurting me? What's not supporting me? What's not uplifting me? And I'm just a product of my environment. I'm a product of my actions. I'm a product of my belief. And I'm a product of being motivated from every person that I've been triggered by. So the other part of not giving up is knowing that even if you've been emotionally triggered, you know, when you get charged, when you feel that stress, when you feel that unhappiness, or that, you know, it's like someone's poked a needle at you, and you feel really, really hurt because they called you a name, or, you know, they don't agree with you, or, you know, it must be something that you went through when you were younger. Well, one of the hacks, this is a real powerful hack for you to actually not run away from those triggers, but to feel them, to feel it, you know, in the moment. Like, feel that pain, because it hurts. It does. I feel it. And I'm not actually an advocate for believing that you can completely heal yourself. I don't believe you ever will. This is a lifelong journey. Healing never ends. You can never stop learning, growing, healing, becoming that better version of yourself, becoming more aware of your triggers. But the one thing that I've learned with my triggers is that it motivates me. Because you can either allow yourself to succumb to the pressure, to the pain, to the hurt, or you can go, fucking come on. You know, you can go, yeah, that's building me now. Like, my pain is my power. And the amount of times that I went through being called skinny, lanky, other names, looking at myself in the mirror, hating on myself, thinking that I wasn't good enough because of the way that I looked, judging myself, hiding myself, wearing baggier clothes because I just wanted to fit in like everyone else. The amount of times that I got rejected, the amount of times I wanted to be in those relationships with those girls and I got rejected after rejection, after rejection, after rejection. And what are you going to do? You're going to fall? You're going to stay on the ground? You're going to allow the world to define you, to make you feel as if you're not good enough because they don't accept you? Fuck them. That's not what you're here for. You're here to find you. You're here to accept you. You're here to love you. You're not here to be defined by anyone else. So fuck everyone that makes you feel like you ain't good enough. Because that's how I felt for many years. But now it's my motivation. Now it's my inspiration. Now it's my power. Because I won't allow anyone to bring me down. I won't allow anyone to make their opinions of me my reality. Because I know who I am. I know my worth. This is all a reflection of the work that you do on yourself. Okay, I was watching a video yesterday and it was about overcoming self-doubt and fear. And one of the statements that this guy said was about, well, what about my family? What if my family is really negative or toxic or unhealthy and they're not encouraging? And he said, well, that's a hard one because obviously it's your family and you love them and all that kind of stuff. And so he said, well, you can't change your family, but you can change your friends, which is true, right? Because of the bloodline connection, right? Because, your family is your family and you grow up with them and you love them and all that kind of stuff. But he said that you can't change your family, which means like basically he was saying you can't get away from your family, but you can get away from your friends. You can change that. And I thought that was really interesting because I disagree. You can have a friend that is closer to you than a family member. And, through my journey of exploration, self-discovery, becoming the new me, learning from my past self, learning from my experiences that I went through in my life, going against your friends, your family, the people that you love is probably one of the hardest things to do. But it's liberating. It's the hardest, but it's the best. And this is part of your ability to not give a shit about what your family thinks, to not care about what your friends think. This is where you got to step into more faith, into more confidence with who you are. And yeah, the truth is you do. It's okay to lose your family. It's okay to lose your friends. It's okay to go completely against them. Because as long as you conform, as long as you continue to go in the same direction as others, you will continue to be the same as others. And this is not what your life is about. You're not here to be the same as others, right? Like I'm not advocating like, don't talk to your family anymore. I'm just saying, be mindful of your environment. Be mindful of your conversations. Be mindful that you're in a positive environment, that you're talking and communicating with people that are uplifting and supportive and encouraging. Or be mindful of how much time you actually spend in those conversations with family that may be not very supportive or encouraging. Instead of spending 1 hour listening to people bring you down or talk about what the fuck's going on in the news, give them 5 minutes, give them 10 minutes, and then move on with your day. You got to limit shit. You got to protect your energy. You got to be very mindful of what you put into your mind because you are what you consume. You are what you consume. So it is hard. And I know that it's challenging and I know that it's not easy. But depending on where you want to go in your life and what you want to achieve and who you want to become, these are some of the challenges that you have to face, is letting go, getting away, breaking free, right? There's a lot of cultural expectations, conditioning, indoctrination, belief systems that you've taken from your family. And you want to ask yourself the question, is that really me? Like what my parents believe in or how they've raised me, is that me? Because if you go back to when you were born, you were a blank slate. There was nothing. It was just pure consciousness, pure love. That's who you were. So before the world, and the world being everything externally, everything that's not you, before the world got their hands on you, who were you? Because you could become absolutely anything that you desire. And the first 7 years of your life is where your mind, your subconscious mind, gets heavily programmed. So after the age of 7, you never really had any control anyway over what kind of beliefs, what kind of mindset, what kind of experiences that you went through. And if you went through some sort of trauma or emotional trauma or physical abuse or anything like that when you were that young, and you're still living with that right now, this is where you have to dig deeper and do the inner work and really connect with yourself to understand that, to free yourself. Because the longer that you don't address those wounds, and this is one thing that I love to say as well. I'm just waiting for the garbage truck to drive past. Residential living, I love it. We have wounds, right? We have these wounds. And as long as we have these band-aids on these wounds, they will not heal. And a lot of us are ignorant, because ignorance is bliss and ignorance is sitting in your comfort zone. Okay? Because we don't want to do the uncomfortable work. We're afraid. We're afraid of what we might find. So what happens when you take this Band-Aid off? What's missing? Why can't we heal these wounds? One of the reasons why we can't heal them is because they're not getting any fucking air. How does a wound heal, right? When you expose it, like if you keep a Band-Aid on a wound and you don't give it any fresh air, it's very hard. It's a lot harder for it to heal. That's what we want to do. We want to peel those Band-Aids off and say, okay, enough is enough. I'm not going to hide you anymore. I'm going to expose you. And that's why I say everything that you reveal, you heal. Everything that you express, you no longer suppress. That's the truth. So the more that you do not expose these wounds and traumas, the more that you are holding on to that darkness. And it's hurtful. It's hurtful. Communication is one of the things that we lack, because most of the time we sit in our heads all the time. And so we just are consumed by our thoughts, by our doubts, by our scarcity, by our fear, by our insecurities, by what other people are thinking of us. And we continue to go ahead and live that kind of life. And, the beautiful thing about life right now and technology and the information age, social media, podcasts, YouTube, if you do what is easy, your life will be hard. If you do what is hard, your life will be easier. And this is where you take control, one step at a time. Like you can take control of yourself, or you can allow the world to take control of you. The greatest thing that you could ever do for your life to help you to not give up on yourself is to switch off the TV, is to switch off from the world constantly sending you bullshit information. That's why I say your mind is so powerful, man. And you've been programmed and conditioned in a certain way because of all the information that you've put in your mind. And some of those experiences and your life experience, you haven't been aware of that, or you haven't had that much control, or you haven't realized how much of a detrimental impact, negative impact that information has had on your belief system. If you're constantly watching negative shit, guess what you're going to constantly be feeling? Negative. If you're constantly seeing everything that's wrong in the world, well, guess what you're going to constantly see in your reality? You're not going to be very optimistic about your success and you becoming a better version of yourself, or you addressing your traumas and feeling confident that you can achieve that, when you're constantly consuming negativity, when you're constantly watching what the fuck is wrong with the world, where you should be really focusing on what's wrong with me. What can I fuel myself with today that's going to help me to become more self-aware? That's going to help me to grow. That's going to help me to overcome my self-sabotage. That's going to help me to recreate my mind, to rewire my mind, to reprogram it. Consistency. Repetition is the mother of skill. Repetition. Right? You want to take control and say, okay, for the last 30 years, my mind has been programmed by the world. I've gone through a lot of shit experiences. I've had very unhealthy relationships. I've had people tell me that I'm not good enough. I've had people call me names. Okay. How are we going to change that? Is that going to change by just switching off the TV for a couple of weeks and reading a book? No, it's not. It's going to change when you start doing something completely different. When you change the way you're living things, when you change the way you're living, when you start taking real control over what you're watching, what you're listening to, who you're speaking to, when you start limiting the conversations or limiting your availability to certain people in your life who actually are not going where you want to go and who are draining your energy vampires, bringing you down. Okay. And that's hard. It's not easy. Like, seriously, it's been quite uncomfortable. If I think about all of my friends that I used to hang around with and be available for, it was uncomfortable to say no to people. I remember having to explain myself. I remember saying no to a birthday, my friend's 30th birthday party. I remember having to explain myself to his girlfriend as to why I wasn't coming. Because everyone was always so used to Luke being around. Because Luke was always there. Luke was the life of the party. Luke was always drinking till 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. So everyone got used to my time, my presence, my energy. And so all of a sudden, when I snapped and I said, you know what, no more. I'm going to give Luke time for being with Luke. I'm going to give Luke some time to get to know Luke. And the truth of the matter is like, you can get lost in the whole expectational lifestyle of, this is how your life is supposed to be. Like, there's a fucking book, right? There's a book that says this is life and this is how you should live it. By the time that you're 27, you should be married and you should have kids. You should have a house, you should have an investment property, right? You should do this, you should do that. There's a book, isn't there? And you got to tick these things off. And if you don't have that, then there's something wrong with you. You're not normal. You don't fit in. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just here to remind you that you're not supposed to fucking fit in. You're not supposed to conform. You're not here to be like everyone else. You're not here to compare yourself to anyone. You're not here to be like anyone. You're not here to do what everybody else is doing. You're here to live your truth. You're here to do what makes you happy. But don't lose yourself to what other people are doing, because other people are getting married, because other people are in better financial positions, because other people have this and have that. That doesn't mean that you need to have that. But because the way that society is set up, right, It doesn't accommodate for differences. It doesn't accommodate for people that want to do their own thing. Everyone's like crammed into this fucking box. Yes, come here and do what we say and do how we're doing it. Because if you don't do it like this, you're not going to be accepted. I'm getting pretty pissed off today. I'm like, fuck that, man. Seriously. This is how you live your dreams. This is how you don't give up. When you surround yourself with more energy that is optimistic, that's uplifting, where you realize that, yeah, wow, my life is a bit different. And I don't know why I keep losing myself to following what everybody else is doing. I don't know why I keep losing myself to thinking that I need to do this or I need to have this kind of lifestyle. And you have the power. You've always had the power. And sometimes you just need to be reminded of that. Just like myself. Sometimes I need to be reminded of how great I am. Sometimes I need to be reminded to believe in myself. Sometimes I need to be reminded to love myself a little bit more. Even me. And that's why motivation is like bathing. Because you do it every day. It wears off. Right? So hence why I still listen to my own motivational videos and podcasts, because I too need to be reminded as well. That's how unhealthy and doubtful my mind also is. I'm not perfect, okay? Don't think that I'm speaking the way that I'm speaking and I don't doubt myself or overthink or procrastinate. I do. I believe I'm honest about that. I'm not perfect. But come Monday, I realized that it's been 7 days since my last podcast episode. And I'm like, Luke, it's time to show up, bro. It's time to record another podcast episode. And here I am taking action. Here I am doing more. Here I am being consistent. Here I am repetition, right? Showing up. And this is what this whole new lifestyle of yours is about, is saying, okay, if I'm going to change my life, then I'm going to change the way that I'm living my life. Because if I don't change the way that I'm living my life, everything is going to stay the same. We want a different life, but we don't change our habits. We don't change the way we're living. We don't change the way we're thinking. We don't change the people around us. We don't change what we're watching. We don't change what we're listening to. We don't change the conversations that we're having, but we want a better life. How do we achieve a better life, more success, if we continue to do the same shit? So think about that, because it has a major, major part in your success in not giving up. And this is what this podcast is about. This episode is about how to not give up. And one of the best ways to not give up is to change your environment, is to change the people that you are communicating with, change the people that you are hanging around with, is to change the way you think, is to create a vision, is to write shit down, is to think about some of the pain and some of the traumas, some of the negative experiences that you've had in your life, and say, you know what, for once in my life, I'm going to stop running. Because if I want to not give up on myself, I need to address that shit first. I need to start doing exactly what's right for me. I need to start putting my emotions and my feelings first. And I need to start addressing that shit. I need to start having some of these hard conversations that I've been avoiding, that I know are going to be very hurtful, and maybe I'm going to hurt someone's feelings, but at least I'm going to start respecting myself. At least I'm going to start trusting myself more. At least I'm going to start doing what's right for me more. Because that's one of the things that's very, very difficult, is to expose the truth, is to do what's right for you. And it kind of doesn't make sense at the same time, because I know, like in past relationships that I had, I was afraid to speak my truth. I was afraid to tell some of these girls that how I really felt, because I was afraid of hurting their feelings. Because I definitely invested so much time into some of these relationships because I was horny. I just wanted to have sex. That was my number one priority, because I felt good enough when I was having sex. I felt worthy of being a human, being a male. And so after you invest so much time into a relationship, into someone, I guess I did have some feelings. So I did care somewhat, because I didn't want to hurt their feelings by telling them that really I didn't want to be in a relationship with them anymore. So I put other people's feelings ahead of mine, but I was always living in a lack of awareness, a lack of understanding, a lack of appreciation for their own feelings. I didn't have the ability to say, look, if you were in their shoes and you knew what that person was doing to you, how would you feel? I didn't have that ability. I didn't have that love. And that's what was missing in my own self, was self-love, was loving myself. Because when you build a strong relationship with yourself, when you love yourself, you start to be able to have compassion for others. You start to be able to see people in a different light, where it's not about reacting to people, judging people. It's about understanding people. It's about you stepping into their shoes and saying, wow, okay, hang on a second. Before I react, let me try to appreciate and understand where this person is coming from, or how they're feeling. Instead of coming from a place of, hey, I know what's right. From what I think, this is how it should be. Or this is what I believe in, and this is how you need to think. And this is one of the challenges that we have, is because we don't have that level of empathy, and we don't have that love for ourselves to be able to step more into that awareness of realizing that how much of an impact am I having on this person if I know that maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. Because, hey, back then it was all about me, me, me. I didn't give a shit. So at the end of the day, what it's about is coming back to the truth, coming back to self-love, coming back to saying you're never going to give up on yourself, because you love you so much. You love you enough. Like, you've built you up. You've addressed your shit. You've addressed your pain. And the more that you do that, the more that you step into appreciation and love within yourself, because you're like, wow, I'm okay. I'm not my past. I'm not a victim of that. I'm not what people have called me. I'm not what people have done to me. Like, I'm in control now. I got my own back. I'm not relying on someone to save me, because no one's fucking coming. Like, you got you. Stop looking out there for someone to save you. The person who is going to save you is right here, right now with you. Go look at yourself in the mirror. That's the person that's going to save you. Action is required. Okay? Don't wish. Don't just pray. You got to put some grind behind that prayer. You got to put some grind behind those thoughts, those wishes. But you got to have some belief in yourself. And how do you do that when you don't believe in yourself? Well, change your environment. If you don't believe in yourself, then mostly that's because you don't have people around you that believe in you either. And that's part of how much I grew, is because I also had a couple of people around me that believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And that's why I say teamwork makes the dream work. You have people, a couple of people around you. That's why my coaching works so well, because the environment that I provide is very empowering, very encouraging, very supportive. And what happens when you're in a positive, empowering, encouraging, inspiring, complimenting environment? You fucking thrive. You grow, you transform. You can't help but be that better version of yourself. And it's really like the truth of saying, imagine you came and hanging around with me for a couple of months. Imagine what would happen when you just constantly hear, you're extraordinary, you're amazing, you're phenomenal, I believe in you. Imagine what's going to happen when you're constantly hearing that shit all the time. And that's what I say to myself. Your self-talk is so powerful, right? In the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word was God. That's what it says in the Bible. But that's the first law of the Four Agreements. There's a book called The Four Agreements. I don't know if you've heard of it, by Don Luis Miguel or something like that. And he says, be impeccable with your word. Everything that you speak is becoming your reality. So if you don't empower yourself, if you don't speak positively, if you don't encourage yourself, if you don't empower yourself, if you don't tell yourself that you're phenomenal, you're extraordinary, you're the greatest, you're the best, you're amazing, you're intelligent, well, guess what? You're not going to be that. But this is something that you got to repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and stay consistent. So that's why I say, surround yourself with me, surround yourself with positivity, and that's what you'll become, because you are what you surround yourself with. With whom you surround yourself with is whom you become. That's the power of never giving up, by having the right environment. But it all starts with you, and you got to take a bit of action. You got to take a bit of action for yourself and look around you and have a look and say, okay, what am I becoming because of this relationship? What am I becoming? What am I becoming because of this environment that I'm in? What am I becoming because of this job that I'm in? What am I becoming? Because it has the massive impact on your future. And it's never too late to change. It's never too late to grow. Never too late to live your best life. It just depends on where you're at right now and where you want to be in 5 years' time. Because I'll tell you, because I'll keep speaking it. I'll keep speaking it because I'm going to make it real. It's already manifesting. It's already becoming real. If you're watching this right now, if you're listening to this podcast right now, episode 115 on the 1st of November, 2021, in 5 years' time, there is no doubt that I'm going to be speaking on stage in front of 20,000 people at the Dream Chasers conference. I'm going to continue to speak it. If you don't follow or you're not part of the Dream Chasers on Facebook, the link is in the description. Join the Dream Chasers, because I can't wait to meet you. And I'm going to continue to speak what I believe in, and I'm going to make sure that it comes true, because I'm going to keep speaking it. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to keep speaking it into existence. And it's okay if you don't believe me. It's okay if you don't believe in it. You don't have to believe in it. I have to believe in it. I'm going to make it real. Just like I've made everything come to life in my own journey of success and positivity and motivation and inspiration and connecting with the world. I'm just getting started. But what's possible for you if you start today, and who you can be in 12 months' time, in 2 years' time, in 5 years' time, that's up to you and the action that you take from today onwards. Because you can continue to waste time, or you can continue to love the time that you have and say, okay, I'm going to start being more intentional. I'm going to start using this time. This is a gift. I want to get to the end of my life and say, hey, you know what? I used the time. I didn't waste it. I used it in the best possible way. I'm not perfect, but I did my best. Okay? And it's hard. Okay? I procrastinate. And it's one thing, like, I'll be honest with you. I'm creating awesome, amazing training on overcoming fear and self-doubt. And I've been doing this for the last couple of weeks. And I'm trying to finish it. And I'm procrastinating. And I'm fucking learning from myself. The treasure you seek is in the work you're avoiding. And I have to fucking remind myself. I'm like, bro, get it done. Like, come on. But I too procrastinate. And I need you to know that I'm not perfect. I need you to know that I make mistakes. It's your awareness to your procrastination. It's your awareness to what it is that you're doing that is not moving you and not moving the needle, right? This is the part of you that is trying to break out. You're trying to break free. There's these old habits. There's this old mindset, right? The old version of Luke is still here. And he's like, don't worry about it, bro. Don't worry. Don't do it. Just fucking watch YouTube. Get distracted. Like, this is the challenge. This is my awareness to how difficult it is to actually break out of the dysfunction, to break out of the old version of you. It's fucking hard. It's not easy. But when you overcome that doubt, that procrastination, there's liberation, there's momentum, there's motivation. There's like, oh my God, fuck, that took me 3 weeks, but I did it. Finally. Right? And you can only get better from there. But this is the part of the journey of pushing and pressing and saying, okay, I'm not perfect. I'm not where I want to be, but I can do this. I can keep going. I can make this happen. And I'm here to just help you move forward. And if I've helped you like 5% or just 1% today, just because you're listening to this, then that's extraordinary. Because that's my job done. You know, if I've helped you in some way, you know, some sort of enlightenment, some sort of thought that's come to your head, or you've been inspired, or you're like, oh my God, I feel like he's talking to me or something. And I get that a lot. I've heard heaps of people say, it feels like you're talking to me. And I'm like, I am. I'm fucking talking to you. Anyway, it's a blessing to be alive, guys. Episode 115, the Luke Mind Power Show. Never give up on your dreams. And why you should never give up is because I'm never going to give up on you. I'm never going to stop doing these podcasts. I'm never going to stop living my dreams and speaking the truth and speaking my dreams and making them come true. And I know that you guys are going to be there. I know you're going to be, listening, and it's also going to be very empowering for you because, again, when you see somebody's journey and progress, you can't help but be inspired, right? You can't help but be empowered because you realize that, wow, this person just doesn't stop, and if they can do that, what's possible for me? What's possible for me? We always look at the end result and it's like, man, you can't skip the process. I don't want to be at the top straight away. You have to go through the lessons. You have to go through the mistakes. You have to learn from every single thing that has hurt you. And with saying that, I'm going to finish up. Why? Because it's 11:11 a.m. at the moment. It's the 1st of November, and that's a beautiful, beautiful sign. Blessings, love. I appreciate you all. Never give up on your dreams. And I'm going to talk to you on the next episode, which will be 116. Have a beautiful day, and I'm sending you a lot of love. Peace out.